entered the map yet. Since this is a full battle scenario with an earlier start time, it will take quite a bit longer to play. Where does
Yeah, so I think with that one, I mean, originally the Prussians were deployed north of the Hofbruch, and then the Russians were all facing north. So basically, everything that was sort of in their back line originally suddenly became their front line when they turned around, uh, observing that the Prussians were making this big flank march around there. Um,
See, all Russians set up in a line facing north unless their setup hex is marked with a NW northwest or NE northeast notation.
yeah,
All right, so they. All right, so. All right. Uh,
yeah. So basically, what happens is I think there's a road over here somewhere that Frederick comes in on. It might be this one
being,
that's
being
going
first turn,
north to south kind of thing.
all units enter as reinforcements on the east edge of the east map.
Ah, okay. Okay, so I guess you could bring him anywhere you wanted to, and then march them through Wilkersdorf, or I guess you could even bring them in and hit the Russians on their eastern flank and just kind of roll them up that way, kind of over in that area where you're at.
Right, that's so there. Looks like a lot of setup in the central map, the west. All right, there's a little bit of cavalry set up in the east map for the Russians, and the Cossacks are in the east map. The rest are all in the central and west map.
Okay.
So it's yeah. Well, definitely might be an interesting way to play it, but
Yeah, no, that could be one way to do it. Yeah, he was talking about that other game of Lobosits. Um, so that might be one that we could do next. I didn't look to see. Um, I think that one was published more recently. I mean, that is within the last 10 years or so. So they might have um, a better vassal module for it than this one or the one for colon.
mm-hmm.
Um, uh, Being what it is. So, yeah, that might be an interesting one for us to do. I don't know. Is it your turn to be the odd man out?
I don't know.
Well, let's see. So it was Michael who played
It might be back to
the
me.
who played at Brandywine, played the Americans in Brandywine. Then you played the Austrians at Prague. Then I played the Austrians at Kolin, and then he's playing the Russians here at Zorndorf. So then, yeah, I guess if we're following the same rotation, then you would be up as the Austrians at Lobositz, and then whatever game we play after that, then I would be up as the odd person out. So keeping up with that. Let's see. It looks like Michael has joined the vassal module.
Yeah, I
I'm
heard.
actually
All
I'm
right,
here. I'm
You
surprised you
yeah,
didn't
are.
hear the chime when I arrived.
it
Yeah,
did.
no. My Discord does not oftentimes make that sound as people come and go.
Really?
Yeah. I don't
Oh,
know if it's just
funny.
a setting thing that I have or
Yeah,
what.
kind of. I guess maybe
So,
it is. I don't
yeah,
really know.
yeah.
Huh?
So, but I thought, there's multiple people playing Zordorf on Sunday nights. So I figured
What?
I'd have to come up with a name that would set our game apart from all the other games
I
being
think you're
played.
smoking crack, sir.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
so
saying.
somehow you found it into our game, Michael. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
you didn't
just
accidentally go into one of the other many Zorndorf games that were being played.
oh, so very many
Yeah,
Zorndorf
yeah.
games being played. Yeah. Oh my gosh, where were we?
Well,
Um,
last I checked, we were part way through. We had just maybe done a few activations in on the 11:40 turn.
well, and boy, we must have just because the end turn marker hasn't moved.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you got an activation, so you moved your wagons and you moved, I think,
Yep.
Diego's group, and you fired some guns,
Yeah.
and I think you moved some cavalry as well. And that was maybe that was it for the moment.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
maybe so. And then it looks like you've done one, two activations. It looks like, or at
Oh,
least
yeah.
two.
And this guy should actually have a finished marker on him since you moved him.
Yeah, he should. You're
Yeah.
right. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a little confusing because the grenadiers are kind of higgledy piggledy. Some are independent, some aren't. It's kind of a mess.
Yeah. Well, now you've got your dismounted dragoons are going to make all the difference. They're going to come
Well,
in
you know
and
what?
save the day.
They've actually already punched substantially above their weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just you know,
N-
it ain't much, but it's something.
It's not anything to laugh at.
Uh huh.
So,
Good
well,
times.
we've got two people who have tuned into the live stream thus far, and
Egads.
we have one like. So come on, that other person who hasn't hit the like button, hurry up.
Come on, with
Yeah, we gotta.
all this comedy gold
That's
here.
right. We gotta shame you into hitting the like button there.
That's
I
right. Like
guess.
and subscribe. That
Yeah.
seems to be the thing, according to the every other content provider, content creator.
Well, and they keep
All right.
changing the rules on Facebook. So
Facebook.
I'm no, not Facebook. Well, on Facebook too, but on for YouTube, yes.
Yeah, I'm sure
So
they're
trying
doing
to
that.
figure out what keeps the gods of YouTube happy
Hmm.
is always a challenge. It's I could understand why people would be intrigued by monotheism. Um,
Okay.
just like, okay, we're getting rid of following TikTok and Instagram and this and that. Just we'll just stick with one.
I see.
So yeah,
Okay. All
yeah,
right. I
yeah,
get that. All
yeah.
right.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
Uh,
we're set to chuck some dice. I think everything's more or less where it needs to be.
all right. Well, then I'll be Chuck.
Yep. It's a 28. Hey, guess what? You get the initiative.
Egads.
I know. And it
Um,
and it
I'm
doesn't move the clock any.
I'm not sure I was prepared for that.
Oh, well, this is your
Yeah, it
chance
doesn't
to
move.
get revenge.
Yes, yes. Suddenly things are going to be so much better. Okay, all right. Well then, let's see. I guess we do. I guess we do probably. Oh, what's his name? Uh, Panin. I don't know. I guess I'll do him.
Okay. Cool, cool.
P over here. Um, cause
Were we on Sal? Is that who you would?
oh gosh, thank you. I hadn't even remembered that. Let's
Well,
take
let's
a look.
see. He
Yeah.
moved
So we
Diaz. I'm not sure.
moved that, and he's Gal, and then I moved cavalry, who of course don't
Don't.
Right.
count. So you're right. You're right. Thank you for the reminder. I should probably remember that I need to think in terms of
Think of
whether I
wings,
well, and
wingdings.
whether I care, right? I
Right.
mean, because obviously I might care, but I might not. And yeah, I probably have other gals I need to move. You know those gals. You just got to
Yeah.
move those gals. Um, yeah. Let's see. That's a gal, and that's a gal. Oh boy, that's too bad. All right, well, whatever. I mean, you know, it's the nice part about losing is you stop worrying about stuff. Um, so all
How
right,
I
I guess
stopped worrying and learned to love the bomb is that
that's pretty much it. Yeah. So we're gonna go over here instead, over far to the east to Kokoshkin, which
Kokoshkin
I mean,
Gesundheit.
I'm not Russian, but that one's pretty fun to say.
Where is that one? Out to the east.
Over here,
Oh, okay,
over
okay.
here.
Cool, cool. I see you.
All right, and so he's nowhere near Gal, is
No,
he?
Gal's right here.
Where? Oh, God,
God,
I
if he
was
got
thinking
any
of Gal's
closer to
back.
Gal would poke
Yeah,
him in the nose there.
man, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't need to roll to activate him, and I can go ahead and take that disorder off, but I'll need to go ahead and roll for this guy back here. It looks like gonna be a hard no. Oh, well,
No,
wait a
isn't
minute.
it a special
Actually,
thingamadoodler?
he was an independent. No, no, no.
Oh,
Actually, so I'm guessing he activated the last time this command activated, and so I just assumed he was part of the command. He isn't,
oh,
but I intended to activate him.
sure.
So still he's in command, but he's not not undisordered. So all right, fair enough. All right, well then we'll just march up and down the square, and I guess we're gonna go because I can't think of what else to do. 1, 2, 3, 4 goes like that, and 1, 2. Oh no! That's not what I want to do. It would make way more sense to do 1, 2, 3, wouldn't it? And 1, 2, 3, like that. And I guess I'm not too worried about that guy. Um, well, I guess I'll go ahead and move these guys 1, 2, 3, 4 then. And everybody's well enough in reach, so I'll just move him there. And this guy will go ahead and activate and move 1, 2, because that's all he can do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it, because everybody else around there is other folk.
Cool.
Yeah, looks like it. And I think I've already fired all the artillery that has anything useful to do. So I don't think there's anybody else I need to fire. And just looking around to see if there's anything else I'm forgetting. I don't think so. But, we can't rule this out. Okay, well, let's just declare victory and go home, shall we?
There you go.
Yeah.
Sounds like a deal.
All right. Your roll.
Okay, here we go. Let's see what we get. All
Tie.
right, that's a tie, and that does not move the clock. That definitely
Oh,
moves the clock.
ho!
That moves the clock in
with
a big way, and that's one
with
for
authority.
us.
Yeah.
Yes. So, David, did you want to do something with cavalry that's kind of there in the center right now, or did you want me to maneuver about a bit?
Well, I think we can. Let's see. Those guys already moved. Those guys. I think we can do the cavalry.
Okay.
Let's see.
So that is Marshall.
Yeah. This guy right here.
Yep.
Okay.
And it looks
And
like everyone's in command except for the guy that's way out here,
Oh,
right? Right? This guy out
yeah.
here.
He's seriously out of command.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, and you can activate this guy while you're at it, can't you? Or does he have to be within range of a leader to
Oh
get
no.
activated?
No. He would need to activate himself.
Oh,
He
okay.
would need to pass
right.
an effectiveness check in order to put himself in command. But absolutely, you can activate him. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
And to be clear, the other thing to consider is that the other half of that outfit is separated from him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Way over here.
honestly, you're activating both of them. Actually, are you? I don't know that you have to activate both of them at the same time. That's a really interesting question. I'm going to have to look that one up.
But even if I did, one of them would already be activated as being out of command, right? So I was going to activate both probably here.
Okay.
And so the one would be out. Of course, this one over here will be out of command. This one, the other one's in range of the command that's being activated
Okay, so you're going to go ahead and activate them both, and this one is going to be out of command automatically.
automatically. Yes.
Okay, all right,
All right. So first we roll for disorders, right? So,
right,
Yep.
yeah,
all right. So we'll start with this guy here.
okay,
Let's see, where's two dice? There's two dice.
probably.
51.
Gotta believe.
He's
There's
just
no
five
question. It's only
off.
+5,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah. So,
Okay.
so shaken, but not disordered.
Shaken but
Shaken, but
not
not.
stirred.
And now, if you try 4 or 5 different times, you click
Right.
up and down. Eventually, you'll get
All
to
right.
the one you want. Yep, that's right. And
All
then
right.
this one here.
Yeah, we'll do that one there. Boom. Oh, yes.
All
So
right.
he's.
There's nothing like suddenly realizing you're, behind the enemy army that kind of focus your thinking a little.
There you go. That'll focus your mind.
All right. And let's see. I think that's the only disorders I have within his.
Yes, I believe so.
I suppose that's true. Yeah.
All right. Let's see where I'm going to. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Would put them there. I could put that there. All right. This are both 4. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Um, which do yeah, let 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, say 4. I think I'll go up to 5, 6. That way, give that one group room to march
Cool.
forward if they
Sure.
want. There. And let's see the other one in here. We got this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. So gonna put him there. He's gonna get shot there, isn't he? Flank. Gonna get shot anyways there. Let's see.
So help me out. Were those two guys starting next to each other this turn?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. So that's why
Okay.
I'm curious why they are separated. Because
That's that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't I don't quite understand.
Because weren't
How
they,
the how
where were they at? Were they here and here?
All right,
Okay,
they're
and then the other
there.
guy was next to him. So he
Yeah,
went one, two, three, four, five, six. So this guy went too far. He should
two,
have
three,
been right
four,
there.
five, six, seven. Yeah, he's already moved seven if he's
Yeah.
where he is now.
actually, but he may have been pointed.
Oh, he might have been
One,
facing
two,
that
three,
way.
four, five.
Yeah.
Oh
Oh, you
yeah.
know what? Yeah, I think he might have been. Okay, never mind. All right.
All right. So that's where we've got the one
All
movement
right.
point
Right,
loss.
right. Yeah, that
So
So
that that makes it make
one, two,
sense.
three,
Okay.
four. But you are correct. I want to probably want to keep them so in the same
yeah,
uh,
some proximity to each other.
right. And so because of that special rule, two, three, four, five. All right, I'm gonna go here so they're still together.
Yeah, and these guns are all going to be turning and
One,
facing north. So if he wants to come and attack them,
three,
he's
four,
welcome.
6. All right, we will split those so that we don't present such a big target. All right. This one goes one, oops, one, two, three, four, five, six, and one, whoops, not him. One, two, three, four, five, six. And let's see, we will put him, command will go. If I put him on here, he doesn't have to necessarily charge with them, right? If I do charge them.
Ooh, boy, that's a good question. I think he does.
All right, so
Um, because he can't avoid contributing to their morale check, and by not being able to avoid to the morale check, he can't very well avoid going with them.
Right.
It's kind of like you can't have your cake and eat it too.
right.
All right, boys, let's
Well,
go. Well, I mean, more precisely, you
You
go.
go, yes.
three, four, five. Okay. So this one will go two, three, four, five. All right. Two, three, four, five, six.
Okay.
All right. And are you moving these chowder heads in the back?
Yeah. Let's see. What's move cavalry into the marsh? Do I have enough movement? I got 6 movement, but he can only move half because he's
I was going to say neither one of them can move um, more than half,
It says,
but you're allowed to move one hex as long as it's not prohibited terrain. So
oh,
yes, you can move
all right,
yeah.
forward one if that's all you do.
right. Let's see what do we got over here that no, those are routed, so I don't need to worry about them. And it's probably 3 to move in the marsh. Is that
It's
what it
four to
was?
move into the
4 for
marsh.
Yeah.
cavalry.
Oh,
So it basically eats up all of his movement.
Mm-hmm.
okay. Um, and it's full movement to turn around, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Actually, let's see. What do I want to do here? Does it do me any good to move next to a routed unit?
Does it do you any good?
Well,
How
it
do you
would
mean
make
that?
it's going to make it harder for you to recover
No,
being
because you won't be
shaken.
in an no, you won't be in an enemy zone of control because routed units don't have a zone of control.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't harm you to be closer to be adjacent to a routed unit. It also doesn't help, but it's not
Does it,
harmful.
what does when he continues his route? Does he have to take a for? I'm probably
Well, unless you've got him surrounded or something, he's
I'm trying to. Do they lose an increment for leaving a zone of control, or am I
If they
mixing
had
up
to go
rules?
through a zone of control, but they'll just avoid the zone of control. I mean,
Well,
that's where,
no, and I'm saying okay. If this guy goes to here,
yeah,
and he would be in that zone of control.
yeah,
Actually, he could actually charge, couldn't he?
uh-uh,
how could he? He's shaken.
Oh,
And
he's shaking.
he's
yeah.
out of control and he wasn't in
Right.
And he's
command.
out of
Okay.
command anyway. Either, yeah,
Yeah.
both.
That's right.
There's lots of reasons he can't.
Yeah. But now
So
but
your
there will
point
be a
is
modifier to Michael recovering, right?
yes. Well,
Because
yeah. If he's in an enemy zone of control, then that would add 10 to his recovery attempt,
right.
his rally
Yeah.
attempt. Yeah,
So if it's a case where you want to keep that, make it more challenging for Michael to recover,
yeah,
you could put that guy over there and face that way, and so then he's now in an enemy
hmm,
Ezok, and so then there's going to
yeah.
be a penalty on his recovery roll.
Right. But to be
Uh,
clear, when he
uh,
routes away, he won't be routing through an enemy zone of control. He'll be routing from an enemy zone of control. So he's not going to take any extra losses based on that.
Right.
And he'll just, I mean, obviously, by definition, he's going to route away from the nearest enemy. So you're definitely not going to cost him any more strength points. You could prevent him from rallying at all, though. The extra plus 10. I mean, what the hell, really, at this point? Why not? You got very little to lose. It
That's
doesn't
right.
hurt you at all. It might hurt me a little.
Yeah. Plus, yeah, this is how we turn our dragoons into Cossacks. This is very much a Cossacky kind of thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
well, the other thing I'm thinking of is kind of
I mean, the only other thing you do would be to kind of turn him to face his cavalry, right?
right.
That's coming up here on this other side of the little creek thing. Um, and then at some point in time, you'll get the rest of that cavalry command kind of through this gap potentially, and then
Mm,
he'll be back in
yeah.
command. So that might be a
Right.
better use for it. I mean, this guy's already routed. He's already, he's already stacked with a really brilliant leader who is not adding anything meaningful to
No,
his die
no,
roll.
he's not.
Yeah,
No, he's
One,
not.
yeah.
two,
So
and let's do one more. So
Okay.
there you go.
that, and then, all right. So this, we're going to, let's see here. Boom.
Going to try
And
to initiate some
boom.
charges. All right.
Well, except that second one's not valid.
The second one's not, oh, why not?
He has no target he can see. You have to have an enemy unit in your charge zone that you can see.
So you'd want to have him one hex closer, like here.
That would be enough.
Yeah. So you wouldn't be, and you had enough movement points to push both of these guys forward
Yeah.
another hex. So if you had him here, then you'd have a line of sight on those guys. And then you just have +3 instead of +4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, I was thinking of our Labatt because you don't have to have line of sight for a charge there.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
the interesting part is you don't have to have line of sight of who it is you end up attacking, but you have to have line of sight of somebody.
Buddy, yeah. Right.
And it
So
could be
so
that
if
part
yeah,
way into the charge, you go, wait a minute, that's actually even more interesting. And you go hit them instead. But if you don't have anybody, this isn't Labatt where you can
Right.
be behind the lines, march 100 miles or 100, eight
Yeah.
hundred yards this way, turn around a corner,
Exactly.
it's a charge of the light brigade.
You
Go
know,
get those guns over there.
so the charge of
which
the
which
delusional
guns?
brigade.
Which guns exactly?
Yeah, exactly. Which guns? Who are we even talking about? No, just go, boys.
No,
Trust me.
it's the wrong guns.
Trust me.
Yep,
The
yep,
guys with the walkie-talkies are
yeah.
telling me that there's a target out there. So just go for it.
All right. And
All
I'm
right.
going to try. I'm going to put him there instead. He would have been able to make that there.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And everybody's still in command of his cavalry, but that way I have a better chance of stuff being in command after they're done with their little romp.
Little adventure.
All right. So
Calm.
Yep.
yeah, let's see if this guy goes. Boom. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going. Let's
Yep.
see if this guy goes. Boom. Yeah, he's going. So.
Alrighty then. So we
All
got
right.
that going for us.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are attacking the dismounted dragoons.
Think we got that figured out. Got to do all the cavalry movement first.
Okay, and 1, 2, 3 there, and they're attacking the
Okay.
grenadier.
And which one are we doing first?
Let's do that one first.
Sure, why not? All right, so I'll roll a defender morale check.
A 0,
That's
5.
not real promising, but okay.
Morale check. This is a pre-melee morale check. So
Yeah,
morale
this is
check
a
B.
B, and it's
So
a
a 0, 5.
What is a
If the unit is
5?
stacked with a leader, re-roll with a minus 15 ER. Otherwise, re-roll with a plus 10 ER modifier.
Okay, all right, plus 10 it is then. We'll try that again, this time with feeling. Huh,
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even need the plus 10.
Yeah, yeah. You're
Okay.
actually in negative territory now, right? Yes.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, well that's pretty entertaining. All right, and
Doesn't that mean they automatically surrender? Is that?
I don't think. I don't know why you're acting like that's a matter of any interest because you're going to win anyway. So
No. What's going to happen? What's going to happen now, David? Now that you've said
I'll
it,
roll a
we're going to
0.
calculate these huge odds. It's going to be
Yeah.
5 million to 1, blah blah blah, and then you're going to roll a 0, and you're going to silently scream
Okay.
into
Now we
your
had
microphone.
this problem previously that we just assumed that they shoot like musketeers because there's not a
Oh yeah,
not a
we
marker
don't.
for them.
Oh, did you
we
find
don't know.
something?
No, I
Oh,
didn't. We never
okay.
did. That was my point. That there are 3 different kinds of infantry,
Right.
literally exactly one that is different than the other 2 classes. So I mean, last time we let him shoot like he was a musketeer.
Yeah.
So
Why not?
I mean, what the hell? All right. So that's 12. It's 4 times 3, so it's 12. So it's 1 to 1, and it is plus 10. And then how big is the target?
It's 8, so it's going to have.
No, it's not. Oh, it's 8 in size. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, so it's plus 20 then.
Yep.
It's all right.
1 to 1 with a plus 20.
1 to 1 plus 20. What could possibly go wrong?
So that's going to be an 87 at 1 to 1. That's
Right, so
1D and an M.
No, just a 1D.
Oh.
I mean, just because it was an
okay.
odd number.
Oh, okay.
So it's 1D. All right, so 1 increment.
And then make a disorder check, right? Okay, cool.
Exactly.
And the disorder check always happens whether it's odd or even.
That's right. Yeah, it's
Okay.
only morale that does every other time.
Okay, cool. Good to know.
All right, so there's 1. And disorder check. Boom.
26. And he's a 26.
Oh, goodness.
Wow,
That
that's
was,
as close as it gets.
right by the area of your chinny chin there. Okay, that's funny. All right, so the odds are 1 to 1 because there are four increments on each side.
Well,
And
I'm down to 3.
Because he took a loss.
oh, you were only a 5 to start with.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so it's 1 to 1.5 are the odds. But let's see, your die roll modifier is a lot. One,
Uh,
two, three, four,
11.
five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and mine is -5, so it's plus 16. So where's that zero?
Plus 16. All right. Um,
oh my gosh, that's off the chart.
it's only plus 10, but
Yeah, but it's only one to one
or
and a
no,
half, so it's not as bad as it could
Yeah.
have been.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is
What's it?
one
1 3R?
attacker and
Yeah.
3 dead and a rout for the defender.
Right.
So that cost that poor little guy two increments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, and increments that are frankly a whole lot more valuable to you than these chuckleheads were for me. So it was actually a pretty good trade. Plus, I like saying chuckleheads. It's pretty awesome.
All right. So now I
So now
roll a single die.
yeah, you'd roll a single
Yeah,
die, but they do their route
I
movement
gotta,
first,
I gotta
right?
bug them out first, right? And so obviously they need to bug out away from these guys. So I guess I'll bug out 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yeah, just 1, 2,
That's
three,
it,
four.
yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you advance. You got to maintain facing. Well, you got to maintain facing, or you could turn one hex point to your left because either way would let you follow him. It's your choice. And
And then you roll one die
then you roll
for
one
pursuit.
die, and there's no halving because you're not disordered based on the combat.
So 4.
Oh,
So you could use
Okay.
1 point, I guess, to finish the guy off.
Right, but more importantly, it then frees up the 3 more points for you to use for free movement if you so choose.
Yep. So now, if he uses the 1 point, does he then move into the hex that was
Oh yeah,
occupied?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, well,
So it's not an
so
abstraction.
he's in the defender's hex, and
Okay.
yes, he literally has to advance a hex in order to cause the extra strength point of damage, and then he would have to do his rally roll. And regardless of the outcome of the rally roll, he's got 3 more free movement points he can spend if he so chooses.
Right. Cool.
And with the whole goofy rules about, you know, you can only move, you can only change facing twice, but you can make any number of hex point changes for 1 movement point. So effectively, if he moved there,
Right.
he could turn back up to where he is right now and then turn back facing outwards again.
Right.
So
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
like it never happened sort of thing.
Yeah.
And the only possibility is because he used 1 pursuit point, it's going to be an extra +5 on his recall check because he
right.
used a pursuit point.
All right. Well, I mean, there's a even halfway decent chance when that guy tries to recover, he's going to lose that last increment. I'm going to just recall in place, I think, and then
That's a good point since he's
Yeah.
at 44. And if you'd rolled more pursuit points and you could get further back into safety, then it would have been interesting. But with only 4, you weren't going to get very far.
right.
Yeah. So okay. So recall and play. And by the way, again, you can choose to maintain this facing or turn one to the left.
Let's see if I do.
And strictly speaking, you should have done that before you rolled.
Right. But I mean, I don't see any.
No, I think you're
Yeah.
better off the way you are now, honestly. But I wanted to make it clear what your choice was.
And okay, so now I do the recall, which is
Yep,
morale
In this
check.
case, it's just a straight up effectiveness check at this point. There aren't any pluses or minuses based upon this.
Right.
And it's not a morale check so much as a disorder check, right?
Uh, yeah, I think it's really it's a disorder check. But the point
Yeah.
is because he didn't move, because he's not in an enemy zone of control, because he isn't disordered, there aren't any modifiers, so it's just straight up beat 26 or not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and he
Now,
did.
a lot of times
So
what happens is the guy's already disordered and
yes,
then he fails the recall and now he's
and
shaken.
then he's shaken and
Yeah.
disordered. So that's
Yeah.
really not great.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's one of those times that it feels great to be the big tough swinging, charging your cavalry until that happens, and then you're like, oh dear,
Yeah.
that's not good at all. All right, so that was that one,
Right. Now, so
and
or do I finish my other move stuff right now, or we go to the next one and then do that all at the end?
So what
what
other move?
Doesn't he get
what
a
other move?
doesn't he get still, he's got 4 points?
No, that's
Oh no
he
no
only gets
no,
it if
because
he actually does at least one uh, thing of pursuit.
that's right. To
Yeah.
to get free movement, you must have at least done one pursuit point of pursuit. If you don't use the pursuit, you don't get the free movement.
Right. So
Oh,
it's not like Regs 30 where you get those 5 movement points at the end of your charge to do your, I don't know if that, I think they call it a regroup in that too, right? In this one, if you don't do at least one thing of pursuit, you don't get to use any extra points.
Right.
So if at this point in time, if you don't do anything, he's going to stay where he's at.
That's right. But again, remember, if you had moved forward one, that means you would have only had three free
right.
movement left, and the most you could have really done is gotten back to where you are now.
No, I could have gotten
I mean, you
I
could
mean,
have done other stuff if you wanted
right.
to, but just um, you only had 3 points left, so you were only going to be able to do a very little bit.
All right. So I misunderstood. I thought I still had the 4 points.
No, you don't.
Because my goal was to get myself back into here or
But yeah,
here.
but you couldn't. That was my point.
Well, I could here.
Well,
I
No,
would have
no.
I got 1, 2, 3. Well, I could here.
Yeah, but you'd be facing, well, where would
yeah.
you be facing?
I could be
Well, so he'd
facing
move forward
this way.
one. He'd have three left, so he could turn with the first one, and he could move two hexes, but then he's facing south.
Right. So
Uh,
what happens is you would move here, and then you could spend one movement point to completely change your orientation to
Exactly. And
face south,
then,
for example. And then
right.
so
And then you'd
that's
have two
and then
left.
that's yeah, so it's 1, 2 to turn, 3, 4, and then you'd be
Right.
facing, down
Yes.
this way, for example.
And actually, if that's, I mean, the truth is you're not in that much danger anyway, because I don't have any troops in the area other than that cavalry across the gully, but it's going to be a little challenging for them. And really, if they wanted to come across and hit you, it doesn't really matter whether you're facing this way or that way. They're going to hit you in the flank anyway.
Right.
the no, and that I had already determined that there's a very hard chance for them to do it. They have to go through that swamp and turn and whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, But the what I'm trying to do is, so at the end, well, I was hoping I could get them both in command, but I want him to end up next to his other friend.
Mm, I see. Well, I mean, if you want to go ahead and do that, you rolled high enough that it turns out that it didn't matter, that there would have been a +5. You need to move the guy forward one hex, and then I'll eliminate this guy here and put him in the graveyard.
So I think that all right.
That's that.
Yeah.
And then my turn. That's one or two now. I'm at.
Any amount of hex
Right.
point
But
turns.
you can completely, you can turn more if you wanted to, David.
That's right.
Because the turning
And
doesn't cost you anything
Yeah,
it costs you just 1 point as opposed to one for each
that's
vertices
right.
that you're turning.
Right.
so
So if you wanted to get further south, you probably want to turn that much, and then you can move two hexes.
There you
There
go.
you go. All right. Okay.
All right.
all right. And now the other one. Okay. All right.
All right, now I need to roll my defender morale check. And it's going to be, plus 10, minus 10 for all the, the usual goofiness.
Oof.
And that's just what we needed, is the wheels to come completely off. Uh, uh,
Yeah, because he's probably
yeah, so
got a morale of like 15 or something, right?
probably, yeah. A fat lot of good it does. Yeah. Okay, so he's got 4 grenadier strength points, so he's going to fire at 16.
16, so 1.5 to 1.
And there's 4
Well,
targets.
it,
So
he's shaking. Isn't it halved or is it?
No,
no, no,
no,
no, no, no.
disordered is
Okay.
halved.
All right.
Disorder halves him.
Yeah.
Disorder halves him. So it's 1.5 to 1.
That's the one
And
thing that confuses me the most. What's halved when it's shaken and what's halved when it's disordered?
yeah. Well, that's what you get for playing Regs 30 and
Okay,
5th
but
edition and Premier and then this,
yeah,
right?
All right, so
Yeah.
you should have a plus
Uh,
20 just like on the last one. Plus 10 for the
that's right. Yeah,
charge,
I think.
plus 10 for the
Yeah.
size.
The only difference is it's 1.5 to 1 instead, but it's 1.5 to 1 plus 20 this time.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you roll a 32, it doesn't freaking matter what you do.
A 37 becomes a 57.
Or a 37, it doesn't matter.
Well, that says it's a
Which is
D.
enough
It's
for a
a
disorder
disorder
check.
check. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I get.
That's something.
No, it's not, because he's gonna miss.
32.
Yeah,
Well, if they're the same as the other guy, they're going to pass.
Yeah,
so.
which they're close enough, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
pretty sure
Yeah.
they're about the
Oh,
same.
he's actually
All right.
Even better.
even slightly better. That's why he's battalion or regiment A, and the other guy was regiment B.
right.
That's the
right.
subtle difference there.
So you're plus 10. I am minus 3, so it is 1 to 1 plus 13.
It's 1 to 1 plus 13. Okay.
Oh,
and
there
it's
it
a
is.
zero.
There we
There's the
go.
zero we were looking
There we
for.
go. It wouldn't be a game of bar without
A 0,
2 and
2.
3.
2 and 3.
So you lose 2, he loses 3. There's no leader involved, and then everyone's making morale checks with whatever they got left.
All right. I lose 2. Increase.
Okay. So you're at 35 because you're half dead. And I'm at 30
Well,
because
you're half
I'm
dead
half
and you're
dead.
shaken. Yeah.
So, wait a minute. That means, no. Okay. So that's 40 then.
Yeah,
so
you'd be
actually,
at 40,
I gotta roll
yeah.
first. Yeah, okay.
Well, that
And
takes
he's
care of
gone.
them.
All right, so advance, and there is no pursuit.
And I can face anyway?
Yeah, you can face any way you like.
Yeah, I was just thinking. Yeah, let's see. All right. Just if this guy here came through,
Mm-hmm.
he'd have to stop here anyways, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. So he couldn't.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
he
and
can't
it's
go-
going to cost
he
him
can't
4
just-
movement points just to move into the swamp.
Right?
Right?
Exactly. So honestly, what he's probably going to do is he's probably just going to move into the swamp and then charge from the swamp.
Yeah. And he's only got a range of 2, so the only unit that he could potentially charge would be this guy here.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any choice. He has to deal with that guy
Yeah,
anyway, right?
yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Which way is it? So if I do that, what do we got back here? We got some. I don't know. Boy. Okay. These guys are okay. So the only thing that's even remotely. All right.
All right. So that was my roll. So it's over to you now, David.
What were you chuckling at?
So I'm chuckling about an email that I just received from one
Oh.
of the other Battles for Quebec playtesters. Who's a fellow I've never met,
Uh-huh.
but his name is Charles Golightly, and the subject line is "Holy DNA Test, Batman" is the subject of the email, and it's almost like he didn't know that there was a replacement counter named for him, because he just drew that replacement counter in the course of doing some play testing, and he went, "Wait a minute!"
Where did that guy come from?
So I got a laugh.
Was it a good replacement counter or was it a bad?
It's not a. It's well. Let's see. He's got a -1 effectiveness rating, so that's actually pretty good. His initiative rating's 4, which isn't great. Any combat value of nothing. So I mean, he's not bad. He's he offers a teeny bit of benefit, I guess, in terms of effectiveness checks, but not much.
Yeah, not like a couple of that you've pulled in this game.
Oh yeah, no, nothing like that.
So
no.
so Michael, the question is,
and
what
I am
what
still
is
waiting.
what is the McAlpin in that one? Are you a good leader, replacement leader, or do you know yet?
He is a badass. He is really good, which cracks me up. I think Mitchell Land ended up using it. Or no, it wasn't Mitchell. Actually, I think it was Matthew. Actually, sent
Right.
us some
Okay.
and I got called out, and then I saw the back of the counter, and I'm like, well, obviously the genes have been watered down over the generations, because I promise you that guy's better than I am.
Right.
Anyway, it's funny.
All right.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
your die
Throw
roll
some
there,
dice, David.
Eric, or is it mine?
Yep, it's
Okay.
yours.
Oh, well, that's right.
I rolled the big 99.
All right.
All right. Well, that's one for us again.
Well, that does actually move
And
the
that
clock
does
for a
move the
change.
clock as well.
Oh, yep. There we go.
And another one for us.
Yeah. So, what do we want to do? You've now eliminated the one unit I was all set to attack. Oh, well, you're taking all the fun out of it. I've got a question for artillery. Artillery. Do you want to do one?
Okay.
No. David, I didn't hear what you said. Did you want to do one or? David?
Oh, no. You'll just have to find somebody else to attack. That's all.
Oh, I'm
Can
sure
you hear
I
me?
will. Yeah. There's
Hello?
just a little. Yeah, I can hear you now. So.
Okay.
Cool. This one here. So this is Router. He's within range of his Connets. There's Connets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And yeah, so he's all good. So we've got disorder checks, so we can roll for this guy, see if he recovers.
The king. Yep, all good, yep.
Let's see if he recovers. So a 35, and he got a 37, so I think he's okay.
No.
Is there
he's
more
not,
to that?
because he's in an enemy zone of control, so it's +10.
Ah, okay, so then he's not okay. No worries. We're used to not being okay. It's the story of our life.
Very
Okay,
good.
yeah. Let's then go ahead and do fire combat. At least we can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can have this chap fire
Mm-hmm.
there, and
Mm-hmm.
he is a musketeer, so he is times
4.
4. Wow, that's really nice. So he's going to be 16 to 10. So that's going
Right.
to
So,
be 1.5 to 1.
right.
There's
-5 for
no.
size.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. -5 for size. So let's see what we get here. A 98 becomes a 93. So at 1.5 to 1,
That's
that
going to be 2.
is 2 dead. And then a morale check with a +10 on top of anything else he's got to deal with.
All right. So he's going to be at +25.
Yeah, half dead, the
Yeah.
+10.
Yeah. So
He's in an
plus.
enemy Zoc. I don't know if that.
No, the
Oh,
enemy's
okay.
under control doesn't matter for that. It's
Yeah.
just that it's +10 for half dead, +10 for the combat result table modifier, and then +5 for
Okay.
disordered. So +2, and then of course the whole, you know, -10 tenacious Russians, but back to
Right.
+10 for firmer being gone. So basically, it's just +25. Yeah.
All right. And that's a special results. You're pulling those special results.
No, there are no special
Oh.
results for that. He's just vaporized.
Okay. Well,
Because
fewer people for me to kill now.
because
Because he routes adjacent to an enemy, right?
oh no, hold on. I'm sorry. Forgive me. You This is fire combat,
Yeah.
and I take it back. He doesn't lose a strength point. I'm so used to the reason you disappear is because of the strength point. No, he's just shaken and disordered. He's still at 5 off, so
Okay.
he's nearly dead. But the fact that he becomes shaken doesn't change anything.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I was like wondering what
No.
happened.
I'm just so used to my units vaporizing that it just seemed like the obvious thing to do.
Let's just vaporize them now, right?
Vaporize him now or vaporize him later. Yes. Okay. Cool. And then I had a question with guns that are unlimbered. If they prolong, they can. If they prolong, they have to go either into a front hex or a back hex. If they
Yes.
want to turn, that counts towards their movement, their quote unquote prolonged movement.
Yeah, they can turn or prolong, but they can't.
They can't do both. Okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
what I want to find out. So I've got this gun here, which is I'll activate them, and I'm just going to turn them, and that's their big exciting move.
Sure.
And then this guy is going to prolong into that hex, and he'll have to wait to turn another day. So I
Right.
mark him as finished. All right. Now, what I want to do with the rest of these boys? Well, we can try to do, I guess, an assault.
Oh yeah. Why the hell not?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, particularly the way the dice have been rolling. Literally, why the hell not?
Yeah. So we're gonna see here. We got well, let's see. We got yeah, we'll definitely try to do one with this chap here.
Sure, absolutely.
Right. And then this guy's all beaten to pieces. And if he moves forward, he's going to get shot by the guns, right? Because he's within
by that
3.
one back there,
right,
yeah, absolutely.
Right. So if he moves there, he'd take at least one shot from that.
He's going to get one shot anyway.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. I think I will maybe try to attack you from a different formation with those guys. Okay. So, well, we're going to move Konitz over here, just not Konitz, but Reuter over there to try to seal the deal, make sure it happens.
God, you
And
guys freaking kill me the way you worry about this stuff.
hey, listen, I was playing the Austrians last time, and
And you want one too, last I
yeah,
checked.
well, I got lucky. You basically ran out of men to throw into the flames. So, all right. Besides, I haven't had enough leaders get killed so far. So let's give this a try. So we're gonna roll for him, see if he goes in. Oh well, let's see how
Wow.
good he is.
Speaking of really crap die rolls,
I don't think that's going to be good enough.
I'd be
Nope, he's a
surprised. Oh
32.
my
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah,
for your guys, that's pretty bad.
yep. So,
Okay,
so
never
those
mind.
guys are going to be shaken.
Shaken, and there
It's
is no close
fine.
combat.
Yep. No, we will just have to shoot him another day.
And
All right.
putting router over there didn't do
It
a
didn't
damn
do
thing.
anything at all. Not with a roll like that.
No, no, clearly.
I was
Oh
channeling my
goodness,
my inner Austrian there.
Russian.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the case was if the Austrians could fail the morale check, they would
Mm,
fail the morale
yeah,
check. So,
you did have a few
yeah.
die rolls there that were memorable.
Oh, indeed. All right. And is there anybody else? Those guys are part of Reuter, but they, I think, they're routed, so I can't do anything with them. Do I have anybody else who's recovering? Nope. Okay, that's it for that. We're back over to you, Michael.
Alrighty.
45. That's another one for us. I'm going to take that if you don't mind, David.
Nope, don't mind.
Okay, cool. I'm going to see if I can't get. Who is this? K. Kurzel. We're going to activate him,
Okay.
and we're going to see what sort of exciting stuff we can do. So,
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out. So taking him out of hook would cost 1.
One. That's right.
And he would be facing this vertex, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So then he would go 2, and then he could turn 3, and then go 4, 5. And he'd have to make a check for
It's
rapid
disorder
march.
check.
Yeah.
Rapid march.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool. So we'll give that a try.
Okay.
So that's 1 to get him out of hook. And then 2 to go there. 3. And then 4. And then 5. All right. And then he's done with his movement, so we'll make his check. Oh my gosh.
Special.
Special disorder check. Movement action 05. If the unit has a printed ER of 26 or greater, modify with a +10. Otherwise, re-roll. Well, I don't know what his morale is. It's a 25.
25.
So I just
So
re-roll
just-
with no
Just a
modifier.
straight up reroll.
Here we
Okay.
go. A 29. Oof.
Boy, still
Um,
close.
Did you do your disorder? This is K you're moving?
Yeah.
You had some disorder checks
Oh,
over.
okay.
Oh,
Thanks for reminding me. All right. So he did manage to do it. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, David. Yeah. So we'll have this chap and this chap. So let's roll for that guy first. He's happy. And then this guy over here. He's happy also. All right. So we can get rid of those. All right. So that's that guy moved. Now, this guy could go to turn. That would be 1.
Which one?
I'm like this guy here, right?
He's still counting in his head.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4 gets him there. And then we got more people to try to bring up. Can the guys that are back here that are grenadiers, could they move Can they move through these guys, or if they're moving, if they turn, then do they have to do a pass-through check, or since everyone's in line, how does that work again?
So so
So, say for
either
example, on
e-
yeah,
yeah, either one of them, you're going to end up having little bit of, well, a little bit of a problem, because if you actually, I think, let me go get the rules, because definitely if you turn to the left and marched over the guy to your left,
right.
absolutely that's a pass through.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
But what I'm struggling with, because you couldn't stay that way.
No, no, I'm not. I don't intend to.
Um, but what I'm trying to figure out though is if you marched forward, turned, and left the hex. I don't know. Let me go find the rules. It's in the next room. We'll be right back.
All right, it's not a live stream of the game if we haven't had to look up the rules at least once, sometimes more than once. Tut, 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 tut. Movement.
Uh,
Passing through on page 17.
Each of the following situations is not considered a pass through and does not require a disorder check. When an infantry unit in line formations enters and exits a hex containing another infantry in line from any angle or direction, provided it did not change facing while in the occupied hex. Okay, so if that's the case, then what that says is exactly the opposite of what I had just told you.
So you
If
want
you
me to
turned,
turn first
you turn and you march into the hex and out
out of
of
the
the hex,
hex.
but you don't change facing in the hex,
Right.
enters and exits from any angular direction, provided it did not change facing while in the occupied hex. So it seems pretty unambiguous, even
Okay.
though it's a little head scratchy.
So this
Um,
guy could turn. There'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, for example.
uh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah,
And
because they're
he's
grenadiers, so
grenadiers,
they
yeah,
could
so
do
they can
that.
do
Yeah.
their magic
Yep.
movement. Then this
Yep. Yep.
guy could do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, and 4 gets him over there, for example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, that is what we will try to do. And I think those are the only guys that are part of that little command. That is
Okay.
K, special K, Manteuffel. So yeah, so just four
Okay.
battalions. Okay. All
All
right.
right.
So, and then we want to move him somewhere here where he can keep everybody in command. And then we're going to try once again to see if we can do a assault over here.
All right.
So we just make a check, and there's no modifiers for us, is there?
No.
Yeah, I didn't
No,
think so.
there's not.
Okay,
No.
here we go. A 25. Ooh.
Oh, wow. Did you really? Oh
Oh,
my
we just
gosh.
barely
Wow.
squeaked by.
Oh my goodness, that's ridiculous. Okay.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right, redonkulous there
All
indeed.
right. So now I have a modifier of +10 because you're hitting me in the flank. That's where the difference shows up.
Okay. So you're going to pass.
All righty. And then let's see, it's 7 to 4. So you're 7 + 7, it looks like, and I'm +2. So it looks like it's 1.5 to 1 +5. I think that's what I'm coming up with.
Yeah, so I'm +4, and then what? Hitting you in the flank does something, or does that
That's the
subtract something
3.
from you? Okay, so that gives
Yeah,
me up
it
to
does. I mean,
7,
yeah.
right? And
So
then
right, exactly.
your
7 and
leader's worth
2.
1.
Exactly.
Your units are worth 1. Okay, so then it's a
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Am I mistaking something here? I want to make sure I'm remembering this. Um, uh, have we done this before? I don't remember this. I was just thinking to myself, have we been shortchanging the Russians? Um,
in what way?
it, +2 is added to their combat value before any modifications um, under Tenacious Russians. We've been remembering the
Oh,
morale check. I don't know if we've been
yeah.
remembering this,
No,
but
I
I'm
don't
not
think
really
so.
sure how often you've done close assaults against infantry, but maybe it's actually
Yeah, we've
happened
had a
several
few.
times.
Yeah, we've had a few,
Yeah,
particularly with the units that were here in the center. Although a lot of them got shot into oblivion.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah. So anyway, so really,
okay.
I guess I'm a four actually. So um,
Well, why are you?
because
A,
I
Is
don't
it
think
wouldn't you?
is
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is it
but
still in effect with
yeah, I
your
was just looking to see if that was the case. No, all Firmer does is the +10 to all the morale checks. So yeah, that doesn't change anything there. It effectively nullifies the morale check benefit, but it doesn't affect anything else.
All right, so it's 1.5 to 1, and I should have then
Plus
a plus
three.
3 is the net.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's see what we get. So that's going to be a net of a +1, and at 1.5 to 1, that's an M and an M.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got a morale
All
of
right.
25.
And mine is 30.
Yeah, it was 34.
No, it's a leader.
Oh, sorry, forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
All
guess
right.
you
So
would
I
roll
need to roll
first.
first. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and roll first. Yeah, I knew that was
Ouch.
coming. Yeah. I mean,
now?
just
If this had gone ahead, would the that +2 applied in the second round?
I don't know why it
yeah.
wouldn't. It's
Yeah.
not
I
like
mean, it
they're any
does.
less tenacious.
It doesn't make any mention of it one way or the other. So yes,
Okay.
I would assume that it would um, apply. I gotta say, I haven't seen a lot of tenacity. Although to be fair, like I said, I think maybe we haven't done a very good job remembering that +2 modifier, which might have made a difference. I don't know. Maybe it's hard to say. Um,
All
okay.
right, and this guy's flipped, and then he has to advance into the hex.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then he can face any direction, or he keeps his.
Yeah, because
That's
he's not in a zone of control, so he's free to change any way he likes. And he's not cavalry, so he doesn't have to face towards the fleeing enemy.
right. Well, uh,
Yeah,
what's up?
if I had anything even remotely like a second line,
Yeah,
then
it would make
that
sense to
would
turn it
be
this way. All you've got
that would
is
be a
this
hard
guy here.
choice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody else is in no position to at all threaten
Yeah.
me.
So
So I
really
might as well
there's
just. Whoops, sorry,
no,
hit
no,
the
not
wrong
him.
piece there. Yep, hit the wrong piece. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna
might
go
as
there.
well. Might
Yep.
as well.
Okay. And so that's going to finish up. Okay. Kurzel. All right. I think Michael, did you roll that one?
I think I did,
Okay,
but I
so
don't
it's over to
remember.
me.
But yeah, sure,
88.
why
There's
not?
another big one. I'm getting all the doubles here. It's going to move the clock. And we can either give one to Michael or just keep running the table here.
Um, I wouldn't mind. I'll take one here because I'd like to just get my one infantry regiment over there more so it supports your guns more.
Okay, cool. I won't stop you.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. 4. Let's go one more 5, and then they'll do a disorder check or oh.
That'll teach you to try to go an extra hex. See, disorder, special results, movement action 08. If the unit's printed ER is greater than 36, reroll with a +5. Otherwise, reroll with a -5. So I guess you'd have
Yeah,
to get it. Yeah,
20 or
so,
better.
yep. All right, they're
Yeah.
happy.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, it's over to you now to chuck some dice, David.
Oh, I can do that.
Oh, there's another one that's going to move
Another
the
big one.
clock. All right, what do you want to do, David?
Um, I'm good for the moment.
Cool. Um, let's see. I will. I don't have anyone who really desperately needs to do anything at the moment. So, want to just go ahead and let Michael have one?
Okay.
Okay. So he's
Um,
moving gal people.
yeah, moving gal people. So I guess we'll go ahead and do um, L, whatever that is, Leontiev.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to have to roll. Probably okay. Yep. Mm,
Nobody disordered. So
um, okay, I don't think there's anything terribly inventive we're going to need to do here. I think we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And I guess I'll just go ahead and, I don't think it's going to matter. I'll just go ahead and do hook on him just to be on the safe side. And I think that's going to be it.
All right, it's back to your initiative roll, Michael.
Alrighty.
All right, that is one for us. Anything exciting you want to do, David?
no.
Okay, well, I guess I can try to move some cavalry around. So I'm going to try to move this heavy cavalry over here. So I've got Leontilus, who's got, I guess, put himself in initiative. 2, he's able to do that. So let's see. We're going to move this guy there and stop. And this guy's going to go there and stop unless you want to opportunity charge him.
Mm-mm.
Can the first one do that?
Yeah, it's just the slope only costs +1 and the marsh costs 4. So it's 5 movement points to go there, and he's got 6 movement points. So we just moved from there to there.
Okay, so that's not one of
Yeah,
the
that's not a
others.
precipice. The precipice is over here.
Right.
Those are
Okay.
really dark ones. Yeah. So it's just a regular,
Right.
a steep slope, and I think these might be precipice hexes here,
Nope, not really.
Uh,
or maybe
I,
not. Maybe they
I
are
don't think
just
because
regular ones too.
you see how the precipice starts in the hex and goes to the edge where these
Ah,
started.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
Right.
subtle difference. All
oh
right.
yeah, yeah. That's the painful part. Is
Okay, we'll move this guy 1, and then
yeah,
that's going to
because
be 5.
it
1.
doesn't help matters that that's kind of in the hex, but it's because the creek there.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that's a precipice. In spite of it, it's ugly.
Yep. All right. That's it for that. Although, could I launch a charge from here?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Can you launch a charge from a marsh?
Yeah, you just can't charge. You can't
I can't
expend
enter. I
you
can't go
can't
into
expend
one, right?
SCM points in a marsh hex, but leaving a marsh hex you can.
Okay.
Do I have to make a disorder check or?
Well, you need to make a morale check just like you
Right,
did
right, right,
anyway.
right. Yeah.
You crossed the stream. You should have made
Oh,
a
yeah.
disorder check
Okay.
for that.
Here, let me go ahead and do that first. Oh, they're happy.
All right.
So they're not disordered in that regard. Um, yeah, so I could, I guess, charge. Nah, Okay, we'll charge. What the heck? Here we go. 91. We're going in. We spur forward. Gonna do
Perfect.
anything? Yeah, just what you wanted.
Sure. It's exactly what I wanted
Yep,
because there was not going to be a better opportunity than that.
yep.
So, all right. Well, I'll go ahead and roll for these knuckleheads. And then these knuckleheads. And yeah, all right. So, the odds are 1 to 1.5.
I've
7 to
got
10.
7
Yeah,
to
7
10.
to 10.
Yep.
It's 1 to 1.5. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. And let's see. That's -1 and +2, which averages to 1. Yes, 1. +1 for light cavalry, so that's 2 altogether.
So what? So
And
what are your guys worth? Okay, so they're 2, and then the other guy is also 2.
minus,
Oh,
well, he's 2 -5. Oh,
oh,
I'm sorry, -5. Where did I get that? So he's -3. So 2 and -3 is -1.
okay,
If I average them together, it'll be -1.
okay.
Is that? Yes,
Right,
No.
and then
-1.
they are light cavalry, so then you get a +1, so
So
they're at
then
0.
I'm back to 0. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And then you're
And then I'm
7,
7.
8,
I
9,
charged
10, -2 for the
-2 for
slope.
the slope.
So 8.
Okay, so it's 1 to 1.5 with a +8.
8.
Cool. See what we get. So that's going to be off the chart. So that's going to be 1 loss for me and 3 for you and a rout.
Okay.
All right, and then I need to advance into either one or the other of the
Yeah,
hexes, right?
either one doesn't matter
Okay.
which.
Okay, we'll go there.
Okay.
And then I roll for pursuit points, and I got 5 pursuit points. I'm not going to use them. Instead, I will just hang out where I'm at and make my recall. Oh, I missed it by 1. So I'm going to
He
end
was
up
at 20.
this. Yep, I'm
Yeah.
at 20.
Hmm. Surprised you're that bad.
Eh,
Oh, yeah, you're right, because these other guys are
Yeah.
18s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really. Yeah. Yeah. Those are the slackers of the
Those are the
outfit.
yeah.
slackers indeed. Bunch of bums. Okay, so that's it. So we'll flip Lentulus over, and I think I'm not sure whose turn it is to roll now, but
I think it's to me, but I'm
okay.
not positive. But
All right, that's still one of ours, and that's going to move the clock,
clock again.
and we're making up for it. Chug, chug, chugging along. Do you have anything pressing that you need to do?
No, if you wanna continue with your cavalry over there or
Nah, I'm
whatever.
going to hold off, see what he does.
Okay.
So you want to do something, Michael?
Um. Well, I mean, it doesn't
Other
matter
than
what I do.
empty a bucket of vodka somewhere?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out if there's any point in worrying about any more of this at all, or if we just decide to punt.
Well, I definitely
Um.
think that I mean it. We can finish up the rest of the turn, or we could just say. I mean, at this point, it's this entire western wing of the Russian army is
Yeah.
just completely toast.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
We've
Totally.
we've got what units you have left are going to get pinched between my cavalry, David's cavalry, and my infantry. So they're as good as dead. And then we just kind of, so it'll take a little bit of time to kind of,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
wear them
No. But
down. But I don't see that there's any way that you can save those guys.
no. I
Um,
mean, voluntary route's the only thing that will get any of those guys um, out of the way, at
yeah,
least temporarily. And then it would take a miracle to get them all formed back up in any meaningful way,
yeah,
to be able to do anything. And
Well,
and and to
actually,
be
that's not a bad strategy. If you voluntary routed and got behind this line of here, you
well,
know,
yeah, except I'd have to get behind the line and be able to reform in an
right.
orderly way, and 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 not leave enough gaps to be problematic. um just I mean, I'm sitting here thinking that, and the other thing is frankly, I haven't been able to roll my way out of a damp paper bag this evening.
yes,
So even on the occasions, and frankly, you guys were pushing your luck a little bit, it didn't matter because you vaporized everyone you've looked at.
yeah, yeah. Well,
um
even
you
even
know
the guy that I didn't go in and attack, he got shot to pieces. With the
hmm
with the fire phase. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Right. Yeah. So yeah, the one time something bad happened to you, it wasn't really bad.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm kind of fundamentally just back to the I don't know how the initial Russian setup is defensible at all
yeah. Not if I
in
mean
in this
yeah,
scenario.
yeah. And that's
I
what
I
David and
just
I were talking about before you signed on
Join
was
in.
just
Yep.
like this is we I didn't think that we did anything that was particularly some sort of unique
in,
strategy.
innovative. Yeah.
No, yeah, I
No.
mean we're just
No.
like
No.
the units are. I mean, so the only thing that we really did was that we had some freedom was the deployment of the guns. Otherwise,
Yeah.
everything else we had all this infantry stacked up over on
Absolutely.
this side. We had
Absolutely.
the cavalry over on the side where it's at. And so
Oh,
we're
right.
just like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? So I think the difference is that we softened you up a little bit before we actually went charging headlong in.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. No, absolutely. It's just that because I had to go deal with my right flank,
hmm
and frankly, I mean, obviously you got to deal with the right flank, especially because that village back there is worth
Yep, morale
um,
points. Yeah,
10 morale points, right? And so, I mean, clearly I can't disregard that village. And yet, by the way, I'm not bothering to defend it. So it's like, so, so I got to go create a defense over there, which means pulling away what little I have in terms of reserves in the middle. And
yep,
because I've got this gully running through the middle of my lines, I can't even shift troops back and forth. You know, it's just like, this is just a mess.
yeah, yeah,
So the difficulty is even making it a historical slugfest.
yeah.
And well, and to be fair, I don't think Seydlitz ever came across the creek. Remember, I think I mentioned last time we played that Seydlitz actually kept asking for permission to do
Right.
so. And the king never told him he could until I think the very end. I think he did something, but I kind of got the impression it was more over here,
Yeah.
like because there was trouble over here.
Right.
And so I think he came across to help out there or something like that. I'd have to go check. I've still got the book on my book nightstand. Um, but yeah, it just seems like the Russians are just all spread out. And the one thing you guys didn't do, certainly, you know, probably could have without any difficulty, is go after the observation corps. Um, I mean, yes, I've got my cavalry over there. Yes, but you know, I mean, the observation corps are crap, and you could have pressed harder on them. Um, you didn't really feel a need to,
Yeah.
because frankly, it. I don't know. And part of the problem is, you know, if you want to move the observation corps further west, which I did, but you still got to have a line in the middle because
Yep.
obviously those woods will slow you down, but they're not going to stop you,
Yep.
right? So, so you can see I kind of left this very thin little wispy line there in the middle because it was obvious you weren't coming through the woods. And then I was moving infantry over to the left to try to make a center.
Right.
But I mean, I didn't have any reserves left. So
Yeah.
I guess probably one error I made is probably this K outfit probably should have never veered east. They should have veered southwest only. But at that point, I didn't know where the punch was going to land, and so I was worried about the observation corps not having a lot of backup.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I got very little cavalry, and what I have bites, and I don't have really it, not very easy to figure out how to get this other cavalry over into the battle over in the west because it's only one command, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so either I leave nothing to protect the observation corps, who suck, let's be
Right.
clear, and or or I just leave the middle without any cavalry. I
Yeah.
mean, actually, the cavalry I had actually did better than I expected, considering how bad and how badly outnumbered they are.
Yeah.
Um, but wow, just I don't know, man. Like I said, I really want to put this out on the table and try to figure out if the other scenario is more believable. This one, this one feels like even more of a romp than the one I played at Consim World back in like 2018.
Well,
I
yeah,
felt like
and
that one was a
that
lot
yeah.
harder slug match, and eventually they punched a hole in the middle, and then I was like, okay, I give up.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think you guys did, quite reasonable things, and I don't think I had very many better choices. Because I mean, what do I do if I don't send this infantry to the back? Well, then you've just turned my flank.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what else was I supposed to do? Now, obviously, if I had the luxury of free setup or just more time, obviously, then sure, I just put
Yeah.
2 lines of infantry right here
Yep.
and
And
and maybe a few guns,
yep.
and then it's just like, well, okay, I'm not going that way,
Yeah.
right? Because you'd be crazy to charge that.
Yeah.
So okay, but without that, you got no defensive position, and I got no cavalry to counteract them, and you can stay out of the range of the guns until the last minute,
Yep.
and then when my guns can hit you, I roll a 12.
Yeah.
So it's just like there's nothing here.
Yeah.
And it's just really frustrating.
Yeah.
And part of it makes me just think, what am I missing? Surely other people play tested this. What did they do differently that made this seem believable? And by the way, there was no tenacious Russians rule, though. To be fair, we didn't play fully with it
Yeah.
because
I don't
I
know.
think
Yeah.
we
Because I
did
think
forget a
I
little of it.
well, yeah. I concur because I think we did remember to roll have the morale modifier,
Right.
but the other one I don't recall you using with any frequency.
No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember if I ever did. In fact, I'm not sure why I remembered it this time particularly. I don't know, and it's interesting because really, if Firmer had been around, it would have helped a little.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't know if I mean, I guess it would have helped a little in regards that I would have had more flexibility about who I moved next. But really, by that point, the whole thing was already going badly off the rails.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. Um, so I'm not sure. What do the rules? What does the rules say about that village?
So if we have somebody in that village at the top of the hour, it's a -10 on. So it's a
Okay,
detriment to your morale. So it.
I was just trying to find where did it say that?
Uh, I'm not sure. I don't have the.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Yeah,
looking. I was
I,
just I was.
I think if you search on that city name, it pops up. So
Oh, of course. Yeah, I don't have the soft copy open, but you're quite right. I'm sure that would be it. I was just looking to see where what where would I expect to find that in the because I was trying to figure out how did they define um, you being in there. Uh, is it maybe in the scenario setup?
yeah, it's in the scenario rules.
Okay, all right.
Or
So,
no, I
and we're playing scenario 3.
just, come on.
Well, I'm still not finding it. Where is it?
For some reason, this is not showing up in my
What?
PDF reader.
Um. Yeah, for some reason it's not. I'm not finding it. I'm sure it's there.
Yeah, I think it would be somewhere in the same spot as where it talks about that village on our side that has. Um,
What, Zorndorf?
no,
Oh
not
no, you're
Zorndorf, but
talking
the
about
other
the
little
the
one,
the, the
right?
line of
Yeah,
communication
yeah, yeah, yeah.
sort of problem.
Yep.
Yeah, but I don't see it under scenario 3.
It's
I would have expected to see it in scenario 3
Okay, so it's under
or
Army morale modifiers. During the Army morale check phase at the start of the top of the
okay.
turn, for each
Okay.
baggage counter that's looted, the Russian army is permanently modified to +2. If there is a non routed Prussian unit in any hex of Quartchen, modify the Russian army morale by +10. This
Okay.
modifier will continue to be in effect until the next army morale check, in
Right.
which case it's checked again. And then
Right.
it's got if Furmore is not on the map, the Russians suffer a +10 army
Right.
morale. This ceases as soon as he returns to the map.
Right.
So that's
Okay.
where that's at.
Okay. No, that's fine. I was just looking for, the definition of what triggered it.
Yeah,
So a
it's a
single non-routed.
non-routed.
So basically, you're already there.
Yep. Yep.
So you don't have any need to do anything further. You've got what you came for.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah, and it
so
would be incumbent on me to chase you back out at this point.
correct. And
Yeah.
in which case I'm like, bring it on, because then that means that you don't have anybody to turn around and fight the guys that are
Oh
coming up.
no,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah. So
absolutely. But again, that is just why I'm just sitting here thinking, God, I want. So, and by the way, on a happier note, right?
yeah.
I'm doing a fun. I'm having a great time playtesting Quebec.
Good.
I'm finding lots of little oop. Did you cover that? No, you didn't cover that. Just little rule things. Just you kind of appreciate tightly written rules. When you're involved in trying to craft them
Are you
yourself.
are you trying to tell us you're not having a good time here tonight?
Oh no, of course not. Um,
So we have
I,
one of our viewers
yeah,
is asking what house rules would bring more balance to the game. Is there
right,
any historical feature that's not modeled which would give the Russians more staying power? So I
right.
Yeah, so they did add a rule that wasn't in the original game called the
Right,
Tenacious Russians, which gives them a bonus on their morale checks, and
right.
then a bonus on close combat. And is that just for infantry or only when you're on the
Yes,
defense?
no,
Okay,
it is just for infantry and just on defense.
yeah,
So really, their cavalry doesn't get any benefit, and there's not much incentive for you to attack with Russian infantry
right,
either. Um, and I don't know if that's really appropriate because I suspect there was lots of pushing and shoving back and forth. So I'm not 100% convinced that's the exactly the right solution. But whatever. The point is they did modify it as an optional rule like ages ago, back when the
right,
game was first published. It came out as well. Maybe we do need to do a little tweaking. Um, and then Matthew put it in this formal update to bring it up to third edition rules. Um, I don't know. I mean, you've probably heard me talk about it. I don't know if this particular viewer was around when I did, but I can find no justification for the mass of Prussian guns. I don't find any historical basis to justify the overwhelming bias towards the Russians' guns.
towards
I
the
mean,
Prussian guns. Yeah, all those
toward the
Prussian 12
Prussian guns.
pounders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All those four strength units, I cannot make, you add up all the strength points on each side and it does not compute. Um, if the series rules are that a strength point of a gun is supposed to be reflective of a fixed number of guns.
right,
Well, and if that's the case, then there's too many strength points of Prussian guns here. And so that's a problem. And
right,
I mean that problem I don't think that by itself fixes anything. Um, I think it does. I mean, I think it kind of helps because it kind of limits the Prussians' ability to just stand off and lay waste to things and then go in for the hit. You actually
right,
have to kind of you got to kind of go in for the hit, and
right,
take some damage in the process. But I think the thing that really bothers me is that well, the Russian right flank, the west side of the map.
right.
And I just don't know how you deal with that. How do you deal with the fact that Frederick didn't seem to want to let Seydlitz off the leash? What what method do you use for kind of constraining the player?
Yeah,
And and yet you want it to be a game. So it's kind of like, do you do it in this scenario maybe? And maybe not in the other scenario where you've got all day to maneuver.
right,
Right. But maybe in this scenario, no, this is the historical scenario. So you kind of have to play it a little bit historically. And Seydlitz, you know, isn't allowed to move beyond this hex row or something.
right.
That would prevent this weirdness. Because, I mean, if you think about it, if I'd had another infantry command or two, they would have been right here.
Yeah, they would be there backing up their other guys. Yeah.
And you'd be in there dealing with them instead of just, peeling the can opener,
Yeah.
which is what you're doing now. And so that seems important
Yeah.
to me. And in fact, if you get right down to it, that command was also up here.
Yes. Eventually,
Well,
they came
I
over
think
there. Yeah.
these guys were the only ones who were kind of over there, facing the Grund, as they say.
Right.
So I mean, I'd have a lot more infantry across here, and then we'd have a hell of a lot more interesting fight.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah,
which
because
I think
your Cossacks aren't enough to stop my
they're not enough.
cavalry.
They're not enough to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Absolutely
the
not.
best they could do would be to come further south and act as a screen, so that way I have
Yeah.
to charge them, and they just retreat before combat, and so you have this
Yeah.
sort of
It,
cat and mouse type of thing where you're trying to hit me and I can just pull back a little bit. So that would kind of buy time for
not
you to
much.
maybe get somebody over
Yeah.
there into the village. If your objective is to try to
Right.
stop
So
that.
again, I am definitely going to finish reading the Osprey book that I've been reading,
Right,
just because I want to get a better sense of, more specifically, exactly where did things happen in the battle. Um, so I feel like there has to be something like that over there, and addressing the just spectacular artillery bias.
right.
And then I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what else would work. I mean, I think I might be willing to try those two things together and play test it solo and just see it. Are we closer?
Right.
I
Well,
don't know.
I think that if the Prussian um, if the Prussian 12 pounders were 2 strength points
Instead of
instead of
four.
4 strength points,
Yeah.
that would really nerf them quite a bit. I could still put together batteries because you could fire 4 strength points out of a hack, so I would just kind of stack them up. But that wouldn't. I mean, that's then going to limit where I have stuff or where I
Yeah,
kind of make my
and
push.
you had that special leader, so you could have had as many as 12 strength points in one place, but it would have just been in one place.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then you'd had a very few left anywhere else
Yeah.
because you would have consumed a big fraction of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, I mean that might be an interesting kind of. First of all, I definitely agree. That's my first thought. The simplest thought is just treat those like they're twos.
Yeah.
Um, and then and remember the tenacious Russians rule: don't have Firmer leave the battlefield because that really doesn't help. And then do something to put a leash on Seydlitz, and I don't know what that would be. And then in the long battle, then maybe you don't need to put a leash on Seydlitz. You just give the Russians the, you know, you give Frederick more freedom,
Right.
and you give the Russians more freedom. I mean, that's the whole point of the all-day scenario, right?
Right.
Um,
Because I mean, when did we start this battle? I mean, it started what at
I don't know. What time was that? Was it 9? Was it 8?
well, we're in the 11 o'clock turn, so it was probably
Yeah. It was 9 a.m.
okay.
Yeah, 9 a.m. Yeah, that's the other thing about this one. It's 13 hours long.
Yeah.
And so that right there tells you something, right?
Yep.
Because it tells you that both sides were still on the field staring at each other after 13 hours.
Yeah.
That's nothing like the battle we just fought.
Nope. In fact, this one is like, if we look at Prague was a slogfest. If we looked
Yeah.
at Colon was a slogfest.
Yeah.
Um,
and this one's just
And
been
then this one is like it's something Napoleonic practically, where we
Yeah.
have this breakthrough and
Right.
we're rolling up,
Right.
through the army, and so yeah, that doesn't feel right. for what at least what we've done in the past,
Right.
how things have gone. And I think you're right.
Right.
I mean, a big part of it is probably just the Russian setup is all higgledy piggledy.
Mm,
Um, so that's a problem. And
Another thing that might help a little bit, again, along the artillery lines,
yeah.
instead of those 12 pounders being FP, just make them P.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because a few of them are P.
Yep.
The ones out west. Um.
yes. And so there was, we'd read something somewhere where it was talking about how these other ones that are F and P are captured guns from the Austrians.
Oh, you said that the other
Yeah.
day. I'm
Yeah.
trying. I don't. I don't recall that one way or the other from any other source, but I believe you. I don't know. Um.
And of course,
Actually,
then
it might.
that explained why in Kolin the Austrians could fire and prolong, but the Prussian 12
Russians
pounders could
couldn't.
only fire or
Interesting.
prolong, but not both.
Yeah.
And so
Interesting.
so
Yeah.
I think this battle's a year after Kolin and Prague, and who knows what it was,
Mm,
Lutzen or whatever else. So there's
yeah. Yeah.
probably
This is
yeah
definitely after Luthen. Yeah. This is the summer after. Um. Actually, it's the summer after Prague, Kolin, and Luthen.
yeah
Yeah. 1757 was a hell of a big year.
yep
Yeah. Now, I'm
So.
reading the description here, and we basically followed Frederick's plan to the T here. It says Frederick rode onto the high ground north of Zorndorf and saw that he would have to make a frontal attack after all. He therefore decided to lay down a prolonged bombardment and throw a concentrated force against the Russian right wing. The attack was to be led by Manteuffel with an advance
Yeah.
guard of 8 picked battalions, and then Kanitz came up behind with the main body of the left wing with 20 squadrons in reserve, while Seydlitz was disposed with 36 further squadrons on the left flank. The right wing of the army was to be refused.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. That does sound a whole lot like your plan.
yep
Interesting. With the difference that Seydlitz didn't actually do very much.
right. Historically,
Whereas
Seydlitz wasn't as.
that's
I mean, we pushed Seydlitz further forward and
absolutely.
kind of threatened your flank in a way that didn't happen
And,
historically.
and again, boy, I'd even argue that part of this is the God's eye view
Yeah,
of the wargamer, right? You could feel free to do that
right.
because you knew exactly where my cavalry was. You knew there was no risk to moving up that
Yep.
way, and you knew the benefit of going and doing it. And
Yeah.
just it's not really clear what Frederick was thinking. Frederick was clearly thinking, I need to go blast those Russians, not I need to outflank them.
Right. I think the only way that you could that one way that you could to as you said put a leash on Seydlitz would be that he couldn't his stuff couldn't move necessarily unless he was in with range of the king. So then you as the Prussian player are forced to move the king further west in order to get Seydlitz's
If
formation to
if that's
go.
what you want to do, and then
Right,
that makes it
at
harder for
the
the rest of the army.
exactly
Yeah.
at the expense of keeping
Yeah.
other stuff in command, for want of a better word.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a possibility. Obviously, uh, if you chose to do that, I mean, the truth is you easily could. I mean, it would only take you a couple of turns to get the king over there if you wanted to. So
Yeah,
it wouldn't slow you down very much, honestly. And I suspect most of the rest of your commanders are good enough that probably it wouldn't have that much impact on your infantry's ability to function.
well, not
So
until we come to grips with you. I mean, otherwise even if we don't hit our role, that's only preventing us from rapid marching and engaging in close combat. Well, that only
yes,
has happened in the last couple of turns. So all of our maneuvering up to that point in time would would have still happened, whether
it,
we were in range
it's
of the king or not, right?
exactly. So in other words, I think what I'm saying is that I mean it's a fine idea, but I don't think would have
Yeah.
had any impact
Yeah.
at all. I think you would have still done exactly what you wanted. You'd just move the king
Yeah. Yeah.
and then say, let's it be where he was. Maybe a turn or two later, but fundamentally that doesn't change anything because I still have to respond to them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, okay, all
Now,
right.
I gotta. Now, initially, you were very kind of aggressive with your cavalry in the center there.
Yep.
The what do you what is your thoughts that if you hadn't been quite so aggressive there with that?
No,
Because
I
when I read the description, that
uh
cavalry in the center was very effective for the Russians in this battle, but not in an aggressive manner, as in more as in filling the holes and taking advantage of weak spots when it saw them in front of it.
yeah. Well, that's possible. Certainly, one of the things I want. And again, remember, this is where the overweight of your artillery kind of drove my thinking because I couldn't just stand there, right? I
Yep.
mean, at some point, I realized that I've actually got to come take the battle to you. I can't let you just sit there and shoot at me all day.
Yeah.
And so, if that's the case, then I brought the cavalry out mostly just because I thought, well, maybe I get lucky and I get another activation and I can go ahead and whack some of that artillery. And it'll cost me some of my cavalry, but you know what? If I've whacked a bunch of your artillery, that's okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing is when you bring your cavalry up to try to deal with me and you end up being disordered or whatever, then that's why I moved all that infantry forward as well. Because disordered cavalry are meat if infantry show up.
Right.
And so I figured, well, you know what? If the choice is stand here and just get shot to pieces or do something aggressive to provoke something and then to be able to respond to it. And to be fair, I did shoot up a lot of your cavalry, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And honestly, my cavalry's not in that bad a shape. But you do bring up a good point that because I had nobody to plug holes, but I mean, who are we kidding? I didn't have a second line of infantry either.
Yeah.
That you're right. I wasn't really able to do much once the hole got broken open. So you might, and again, I wonder if you guys didn't have such a ridiculous overweight of artillery, maybe I would have just stood there. And I guess that's one of the other things, and this is really hard to model in a game. But if the game's supposed to last 13 hours, obviously, if you're a general on the battlefield, you're not in any particular rush.
Yeah.
Right? Your primary interest is preserving your army for tomorrow. And so you probably would have just stood there and, yeah, some peasants get whacked. But you're going to maintain your army as a force in being. Whereas right now, I've got an army that's about to melt.
Yeah.
Because they're all just run for the hills, and there won't be a Russian army at the end of the next hour or so. The Russian army is going to be gone, having hightailed it off the battlefield. So it's possible that kind of like what Eric did to my center at Borodino.
Right.
Where he just decided, no, damn it, I don't want to wait. I don't want you to wait for the Poles to come around the right side. I want you to attack right now. And since I didn't show up one week, he just took over my troops and attacked.
Yeah.
And it worked, but it was definitely, forgive me for saying so, but it felt like a wargamer move.
Yes.
Because what the hell? It's more fun to play the game if you do something rather than stand there and don't do something. And so maybe I fell prey to that a little bit in this case, but it was also just because you had so much artillery that I was just going to get obliterated.
Yeah.
And I had no meaningful way to answer.
Yeah. And we had no incentive. Yeah. We had no incentive for launching an attack. I mean, we could have sat there and exchanged fire for a couple more hours before we finally sent the infantry in.
And really, you probably should have, honestly. You actually attacked sooner than you needed to.
Yeah, but part of it was just like we can get away with it. We saw that
Eh,
we were pulling you in two different directions.
yes.
That had
Yes.
opened up. You had no reserve, and so we're like,
Yep.
let's take care of it now,
Sure.
because he's not going to be in a position to put out two fires on two ends of the line, kind of a thing.
That's exactly right.
So, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. This is this is interesting. I mean, I played it twice now. Been the Russians both times this time,
Mm.
and I don't know. This feels not right. I think this was volume three. I think I need to correct myself because I think Luthen was volume two of the series, and this
Oh,
was
okay.
three. Um, Luthen feels a whole lot more like the real deal. I mean, the battle that you play on the field actually looks a lot more like the battle you read about.
Right.
So, man, maybe this one just doesn't quite click. So, we need to think about some changes. And I'm gonna, since I probably emailed Matthew 3 times today, I guess what the heck, and I will go ahead and email him one more time with my thoughts about this one, and just kind of we see where that ends up.
Yeah.
So,
Well, so what do we
let's
want to
talk
do
about,
then for
yeah,
next time? Do we
yeah.
want to do? I think you talked about what was it, Lobosits?
Well, it's certainly one that I've never played,
Okay.
and
Same for me
one
and David, I presume.
Okay.
that I
Yeah,
think somebody said that the Vassal module was updated with the expansion map. Is that?
Okay. I
Did you
don't
say
know.
that, David? I could have.
no,
Oh, you didn't say that. Okay, never mind.
I know you were ruminating on that last week and whether, but
Right. Okay.
yeah,
Well, let me.
I have
Let me.
not
Let me.
looked at.
Okay. Well, let me. I wonder if I actually have downloaded it. Let me take a look.
That's what I'm.
Although, actually, even if I had downloaded it, I might have downloaded it before that. I do not have Lobosits downloaded anyway, so I guess we ought to just go
Yeah,
find it.
let's see what we got here.
And modules.
So it looks like the date on this module is 2015. Um,
That's not recent.
No,
no,
it's
but
not.
the game was published in 2005.
Well, and remember that the expansion came out, I think, in Prague.
Yeah.
I think it was in Prague. So Prague has probably been that long now. I mean, it's kind of terrifying to think that, but I think that may be true. So here we are. Let's take a
Yeah, Prague
look.
was published in 2014.
Right. So it's very possible. Here I am moving the module over. Okay. And then here I am opening the module. Come on. Do as I say, not as I mean, or do as I mean, not as I say. I don't know. Something like that. Do something. Opening. Start a new game offline.
Which one are you doing? Lobosits? Is that what we're?
Lobosits, yep.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look and seeing. All right, so it gives me three scenarios. One is the 8 a.m. start, one's the 6 a.m. start, and then there's a third one called Brown's Fear. Don't know what that means, but okay. And then I'm gonna just open it and see what we get. Um, I'm trying to figure out what the map looks like because I think the original game had like a map and a half. I think this may be the original. I'm not sure the expansion's on here. I don't know. We'll have to go look. So definitely, uh, I am absolutely open to it since it's literally it's one I've never played. I am totally down for that. We can all
Oh,
we
wow.
can
It's a
all
nice looking map.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we can all scratch our heads together, I guess. The map was by Terry Leeds rather. The original map was by Paul Dangle. Now that's
So it does
interesting.
have the South Map extension.
It does.
Yeah, I'm looking at over at the corner. It says South Map extension over in the
Oh,
lower
copyright
right.
2009.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so um, it looks like they got like a little dotted line. I don't know if that's for
Okay, I'm
elevation or
trying
what,
to.
but
Okay, now there's the berg with the grapevines on it. I think the Prussians come in from the west,
yep,
and they come in through that gap,
yeah,
that low lying area, and the Austrians are here on the east. And I guess the expansion was to kind of give a little bit more room for the battle to develop instead of being kind of congested right there up in front of Lobositz, if memory
yes, yeah.
serves.
I I
So, all right.
I've never played it, but I
Yeah.
remember I did take out the map and the extension as well. And the extension was just it was kind of a narrow, so it wasn't a
Hmm.
full piece, but it was more like a long and narrow piece. It added probably another, you know, 20 hexes to the
Yeah.
south
Yeah.
part of the
That
map,
that
kind
kind
of a
of
thing.
and well, probably if we look, you can find where it is. Oh, in fact, it's actually marked on the far right of the map.
Oh yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
line in the blue there that
Yep.
shows you where
North
the
south. Yeah.
extension is. Yeah, and so okay, so that makes total sense. And yeah, that's interesting. It does kind of kind of open up the Austrian left a little bit. Although I don't know, there's some pretty horrible terrain over there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how much that really matters, but they wouldn't have done it if they didn't find some value to it. So
Yeah.
anyway, so that one would definitely be interesting, and then we'll just have to read over the scenarios in the order of battle and try to figure out uh, which side makes more sense to divide, I guess.
Yeah. Looking at the order of battle, that's at least here in the. I've got the 6 a.m. battle that I brought up. They've
Hmm.
got a fair amount of. I got two 12 pounders, some 6 pounders on the Austrian side. As far as infantry goes, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15
Boy, it sure
regiments
looks like
of
a smaller
infantry.
battle.
Yeah, it is a smaller one.
It
And then
sure
they've
looks
got a
small.
bunch of grenadiers. So they've got maybe,
Hmm.
I don't know, probably fewer than 20 infantry regiments on the Austrian side, a decent amount
Yeah.
of cavalry, um, and their usual problematic grenzers.
Yeah, a whole
Um,
slew of Grenzers for
yep,
sure.
yep. And then the Prussians, what have they got? Oh, they got a even smaller army.
Yeah.
They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, they've only got 12 infantry line, and then they got 1, 2, 3. So, I mean, probably maybe 20 infantry regiments.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I thought I opened the same ones. I'm looking at, I see only seven for Prussians of regiments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for the Austrians.
I'm not sure where you're seeing that. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I see 11 Prussian infantry regiments
Yeah.
on the order of battle table just by clicking the button on the on the toolbar.
Yeah.
Okay, what battle are we looking at? Did I just?
Lobositz.
Okay, that's what I got.
Yeah, yeah, and up on the toolbar,
Which
there's
scenario
the.
did you open up, David? Although it shouldn't
I
make any
Shouldn't
difference.
matter. The order of battle is probably common to all of them.
I mean,
I mean, there's Bevern and he's got 4 regiments under him, and Kleist and he's got 3 regiments under him, and Braunschweig has got 4 regiments under him. So there's
yeah.
11.
Okay. Oh, well, I'm just talking about the commands, which would be
Oh,
Bevern,
Oh,
oh, yeah,
oh,
Kleist,
yeah,
well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
There's just 3 of those, but
Yeah,
yeah,
those aren't
and
regiments;
then
those are brigades. Yeah.
right. Okay,
or,
but there's
yeah. It's
one, two,
not
three,
very
four,
many
five.
though.
There's seven commands basically.
Yep. Yep, on the Prussian side, four
Yeah, yeah,
four cavalry and three infantry. So that's kind of
yeah.
dinky compared to what
It's
we're
pretty
used to.
small. It's pretty small.
And
Yeah.
the Austrians have got, looks like one, two. What are those guys? So they've got three,
Oh, that's
four,
complicated.
five.
So
They
they got.
got more. They got more cavalry. They have five cavalry regiments, and four infantry regiments. Oh no,
Uh,
five infantry
yeah, I was gonna say
brigades.
because you got Veed over
Yeah,
there,
yeah, 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 yeah,
like,
yeah. So the
and all
Austrians look
important
like they're a little bit
grazers.
bigger. Yeah, the Austrians look like they're a
Yeah,
little bit bigger.
yeah. You know what's funny though, because how many of these names are familiar,
Oh yeah, well,
right?
except
I
for
mean,
all the
that's so
guys we've
funny.
gotten killed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, except the guys that got whacked here, and but yeah, it's just pretty funny because
I
they're
mean,
all
we've
over.
done a fair amount of battles for the
Yeah.
We have,
in this
we
period
have.
at this point. Where
That's right. All right. Well, I tell you what, then how about let's all just go off and read up
Yep.
and then figure out what we think makes sense. And let's just communicate over the course of the week and see what we think we want to do next Sunday. And maybe we can get started next Sunday.
Sounds like a deal.
Sounds
sounds
like a
like a
winner.
plan.
All right. Well, very good. Well, thank you, gentlemen. And it is getting to be my bedtime, so I think I'm going to go. I will say, if I may, just did more play testing of scenario two of the battle for the plains of Abraham,
Right.
and like I said, I just keep finding just little rules anomalies, the exact things that make bar rules so great. Because you don't find those anomalies after the game's been published in general. Um, and I played scenario two, and I've moved several hours into it, and the I had what turns out to have been a 4 in 10,000 chance because the French have multiple reinforcement groups, and you
Okay.
basically the mechanism by which you bring them on is you start under different circumstances. You either start at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, doesn't matter which one. But anyway, so once you start, the way it works is this: the first turn that they're eligible, you put a 9 marker on that turn, and then you roll a die. And if you roll a 9, then they come on.
Right.
If you don't roll a 9, then you put an 8 on the
Right.
next turn, and you roll again.
If you
And
roll an
if
8 or a 9, they come on. Yeah.
exactly, and then 7 and the 6,
Right.
whatever, right? I got down to 0
Okay.
without managing to roll higher than that number. So
Wow.
that means 3 hours went by. And of course, every turn, it's more and more likely that you're going to be able to roll because it's, I mean, literally, I needed to roll a 1 or better.
Right.
What did I roll? A 0.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me? So this means that the first French reinforcement group came out there and nobody else showed up.
Wow.
And then the British have all landed
Right.
and they all start getting organized. And eventually Wolf is like, well, that's all you got? So the funny part is the victory conditions say that the French have to win or the British do.
Right.
So the onus is really on the French to attack. But I'm sitting here thinking, as the British, am I going to leave this opportunity? Am I just going to not attack when I wildly outnumber the enemy?
Right.
What
So
the
what
hell?
so
I'm
what
going to
did
go
you
ahead and
do?
attack. So I did. So
Right.
I started attacking. So Montcalm, the French guy, immediately just throws all of his skirmishers out in front
Right.
and then backs up his line infantry because, of course, if you get near the guns
Right.
of Quebec, the British are not going to follow you
Right.
because I mean those are 4 strength 24 pounders. They will mess you up. So anyway, so that's what Montcalm is thinking is I'm just going to throw the skirmishers out there. I'm going to back up and wait for those reinforcements to finally show up, and then we'll try to figure out what to do. The skirmishers are doing pretty well, actually. The British, maybe I haven't been handling them very well. There's some different things I maybe could have done. And so the British line infantry are taking some casualties, even though they are pushing the French militia back. And now there isn't the secondary French reinforcements are showing up. But now the trouble is the French are trying to deal with a problem where there are woods in the middle of their formation,
Right.
because they got one group on one side of the woods, one group on the other. One got a toe, well, they both have just got a toehold up on the heights of the plains of Abraham.
Right.
Well, clearly you don't want to go below the heights, because then that means you're going to have to attack up onto them.
Right.
And so they're hanging on by their fingernails right now. And so now it's all kind of, will the skirmishers let them hold on long enough until they can get a little bit up there? So it's kind of been interesting. And I don't know. I may end up regretting being so aggressive as the British. Maybe it would have been better if I just sat in the corner of the plains of Abraham and just sat there and said, "Come get me." But you know how it is, right?
Yeah, sure.
You
Well,
see an opportunity,
it's a
it's like,
play
but
test.
if I could just crush these guys, well, then there's no battle.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I do that if I thought I could get away with it? But like I said, the French militia, for all that they're not great, how skirmishers are. I
Yep.
mean, they just take a long time to grind up.
Yeah.
And the British. Oh, and by the way, boy, you want to talk about not being able to roll your way out of a damp paper bag? OMG, the British are rolling so badly. Remember, in the American Revolution version of these rules,
Right.
you can have as many as 8 strength points firing out of a hex.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because
The
it's a
defense
strong,
value
yeah.
is still 10,
Yeah.
right? Because the scale's different. And I talked about it with Paul Borchers, and Paul pointed out that really the number of casualties really isn't that much different, because of course the casualty increments are halved as well.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe, but it just means you're like, sometimes you're rolling on the 4-to-1 column,
Right.
which feels really kind of weird, right? You just don't do that much in this game. And but you know what? If you roll a 21, it really doesn't matter what column you're on.
Right.
So they have been doing a spectacular job of not sealing the deal with
Wow.
these French militia. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the risk you take. So, anyway, it's been fun, and it's been fun to do the play testing. It kind of reminds me of what I do for a living, as I often write up bugs. And that's kind of feels like what I'm doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm testing stuff, trying stuff, and going, oh, now wait a minute. If you do this, it should have done this, right? But it didn't. So anyway, all right. I just thought I'd throw that at you, because that just was a topic of recent interest.
All right. Well, we'll have to change our sign out. Instead of it being check to see if Zorndorf is right for your from your doctor, right? Is right for you. We'll have to see. Have you taken your dose of Lobosets recently?
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And then we'll have to come up with a list of side effects that
Yes.
we'll have to tell you
Yep.
every week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Side effects include, yes,
Falling asleep.
yeah.
Laughing at jokes that aren't that funny,
Disorder,
that kind of stuff.
multiple disorder checks. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, y'all have a great week.